stay a while and listen.
Welcome to the Agony of Positivity podcast. I am Ross, and I am joined this week with
Saul.
Yes. You know, sometimes I wonder if they're like, "Oh, he says joined this week. Is there a different host that sometimes steps in?" No, there is not.
But who knows? One day there may be. Ross may kick me to the curb and have
pretty
Brad
unlikely.
Pitt here talking.
I don't really. I think we talk about, like, I'm not exactly the best at being social, so there is a very limited window of people that I talk to, let alone that I'm willing to dedicate, like, pretty much scheduling a date with on a regular basis. Like, basically you and my wife.
I would hope that if you have a chance to just one podcast to do it with Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's only thing was like, no, Saul can't do it this week. You would do it just so you could have Brad Pitt on the show.
I mean, that would be good for show ratings, I'm sure. I'd much rather get, like, Henry Cavill, since he plays video games.
That's fine. Yeah.
And I could just rip into Superman nonstop. To where he'd be like, dude, I'm just some guy. Why are you giving me this much of a hard time? Shut up, Superman! I'm sure I would legally not be allowed to call him Superman.
Probably not.
Considering that in Smallville, which was a story about Superman, they couldn't say Superman. There's zero chance that us as nobodies could use Superman without drawing a ton of bad attention.
Which still puzzles me to this day. Why do a show about Superman if you can't even say his name? I don't get it. So,
well,
whatever.
Yeah, it will go down in mystery forever. Yeah. I keep seeing, like, I'll look through, for some reason, like, my YouTube is got a whole bunch of, like, CW type shows on it now, like, where there's, like, old clips from, like, Supernatural and those kind of shows. I keep expecting to see Smallville stuff pop up, and it never does.
And Smallville kind of started all that, you know, with actually kind of started CW. I would say because CW does suck.
They've had, again, their big thing is if you're on the CW, then your show's going for as long as you want it to. Like, you got to be really bad to get canceled on CW. Yeah. Because I think their viewer expectations is like 20, like people, like 20, not 20,000, just 20 people.
Tells you a lot because Supergirl got canceled, so tells you how bad that show was.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I tried to watch a couple episodes of that, and I didn't feel like I was watching Supergirl, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Like, I was watching some other show where they were... It was like the Big Bang Theory when they all dressed up as the Justice League. I felt like I was watching a show where people were pretending to be super characters.
Yes.
So, let's see. So, it was Thanksgiving week. Yeah. Decent Thanksgiving, bad Thanksgiving, good Thanksgiving.
For me?
Yes.
It was pretty good.
On a scale of delicious turkey to smallpox infestation, how would you rate your Thanksgiving? That was the scale.
I would say it was a 6. I would say that.
Okay.
Because the problem was that there was kind of a snafu with my parents, and they couldn't get a turkey for whatever reason.
Really?
Well, they couldn't get a turkey that was defrosted type thing.
Yeah.
Because they order it through, like, Kroger's or Walmart. I don't know.
Were you like, if you go and listen to 2 episodes ago, Ross talks all about the quick ways to defrost a turkey.
Yes. For whatever reason, they didn't, I don't know. So, in any case, we had chicken.
Yeah.
And it was all right. And like I said, it was a good Thanksgiving, but it wasn't turkey.
Right.
So,
Do you like dark meat turkey? Because I have a plate of all the dark meat turkey that I didn't touch. I can bring
no, I
you
don't like
turkey.
dark meat.
Okay.
No, I've been giving dark meat to my dogs. So.
Okay. My wife was telling me yesterday that dogs can't have dark meat turkey.
Oh well, they've been eating. Mine's been eating it just fine, so I don't know.
Hold on, I'm looking. Okay, so whatever she heard, I'll have to talk to her. I was looking this up just in case anybody else is like, "Oh my God, I've been giving my dog dark meat turkey. What is Ross talking about?" Turkey is relatively safe for your dog if you take some precautions. It does offer some nutrition for dog. Obviously, it's going to give them protein if nothing else. Dark meat is the most nutritious part of the bird because it has more vitamins and minerals than the white meat. Okay, so that makes me think that.
So the cautionary is, the bones, basically.
Right, yeah, you don't,
sure
same with, chicken wing. Like, you don't want to give them chicken bones because they can splinter. Dark meat, I seen, yeah. Well, it could be thinking, giving them, the wing or the leg or something. Yeah. But I'm not even a fan of dark meat turkey, but I'm not giving away the turkey leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it could be, a dog's pancreas isn't designed to handle a lot of fat. So the dark meat is a little bit more fatty sometimes. So it could be that might be where the problem is. But
could be.
Okay, but yeah, in general, it's not like feeding onions or anything that's going to poison them. So, all right. I was too lazy to actually look that up when we were talking about it because I was like, well, I'll just give them white meat because I don't really worry about it too much.
Now, on Saturday, last night.
Yeah.
Because my wife bought a turkey because she wanted a turkey.
Yeah.
So we defrosted our turkey on. So she bought it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And she did. So we've been slow defrosting it, and we cooked a turkey last night for us. I had a few friends over.
Yeah.
For a after party Thanksgiving thing.
Post Thanksgiving.
Yep, and that was pretty good. So.
See, we had the 13-pound turkey.
Yeah,
I'll tell the story of my Thanksgiving dinner that could have been better. So set it out Sunday night, in the refrigerator to thaw out. So I figured we probably weren't even going to cook it till Friday, but our plans kind of changed, so we just made it on Thanksgiving. It did not thaw out completely, and I was very surprised by that. So maybe our refrigerator is way colder than it should be.
Okay.
But you would think to keep a turkey, 13-pound turkey, where you're giving it 4 full days, should be plenty to thaw it out, I had thought. But it was rock solid in some places. So maybe I'm supposed to spin the turkey while it's in the refrigerator or something. I don't know. But either way, I pull it out and it's well, I was using the oven bag to cook it. I was well, it doesn't really matter because you can cook a frozen turkey. It just takes way longer. So I was well, we'll just use the thermometer and make sure it's cooked. So probably overcooked it just a little bit. Kind of being worried about that because the side that was still frozen had the giblets and everything. So pretty much you can just leave those in is what I read because it wasn't the meltable plastic. So it's not it's going to contaminate the bird or anything like that. Again, is what I read on multiple sites. That could be wrong, but at a certain point, I stopped fact checking things. So, based it with some butter and spices and all that. Well, we had a deformed turkey.
Okay.
So the way the legs and the wings and the neck are on the turkey. Our turkey, somewhere along the way, the legs had been, I don't know if broken is the right word, but out of the hip joint somehow. So I thought I was I basically cooked the turkey upside down, which not a huge deal. Not really. Because in the oven bag, all the juices and stuff, it's basting the breast side of it. But it didn't look upside down, so I'm trying to like carve the breast meat off. I'm like, what is wrong with this? There's no way this is right. Did they give you guys these turkeys at work because they got like defective like mutant turkeys? What's going on? So flip it over. It did have the thermometer thing that's supposed to pop out inside it, but due to the ice, I couldn't see it at the time.
Okay.
So, and this is the first time I've ever cooked like a full turkey like this. So, again, it's like, well, I'm not going to kill this or poison this, but I don't know if this is going to be great. So flip it over, cook it a little bit longer just to make sure, because whatever. And then the turkey ended up being okay, but it's one of those, it could have been better. And then that was basically everything I made, because like I made some like mashed potatoes, and again, we do it with the skin on, but there was something I probably should have used heavy whipping cream instead of milk. I think that's usually what I do for the mashed potatoes. And I just went with milk because it was easier, because we needed that for other stuff. So I was very critical of the mashed potatoes, even though like they were good. Like basically everything I made was good, but I know that it could have been better, so I could barely enjoy it. I was like, I know this turkey could be so much better if if it would have thawed properly and could have seasoned it a little bit better, like did like the 24-hour brining and stuff to it. But yeah, so next year or Christmas or whenever, if we do a turkey again, I will be much more prepared. But it was enjoyable. But it's like, I feel like it's a lesson for life almost, where don't get in your own way. Where it's like, even though I know that this could have been better, this is still pretty good. I should enjoy it. But I was in this could be better. I'm just not going to be able to enjoy it the same way. However, as leftover, it was way better, so it worked out.
It balanced itself out,
I suppose. And biscuits help. I always just make sandwiches where it's like biscuit or a roll, and then mashed potatoes, and then turkey, and then whatever else. Like you just put it all in a sandwich. One-stop shopping. So let's see. But yeah, so that was basically my week. Worked briefly on Friday for a job. Yeah. That was, it's interesting. We do an awful lot of work where it's like, oh, this person, it comes across as an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And it's not. Like, it's not at all. And you're like, well, what was the point in that? Just weird. Like, all you people out there with carpet, you're weirdos. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, they offered me, because I asked off for Friday.
Yeah.
And our boss is like, well, if you want to come in and just maybe throw a couple rugs around for maybe an hour or so, the possibility's there for you. I just want, that way you get some hours in. I was like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I'm going to tell a work complaining story. So there's a group that like we do rugs 4 places, and there was a group that was supposed to be coming up to pick up some rugs, and they had actually set them aside for them to pick up. So the question would be, who do you think is going to be the first person in the building on a day that I'm working?
Yeah.
Who do you think is the one person that has no idea that this is going to be happening?
Oh, yes,
they're the same person. So we fill like the trucks up with water, and for anyone who hasn't listened for a while, so it's like 100-gallon tank or whatever, something crazy. I would never have thought that in my life. So I have that going, but these guys come in and swoop in like locusts, be like, "Oh, we're here to pick this stuff up," and they just start grabbing stuff and like carrying it out to their van. And I'm trying to get them to slow down, but like, hold on, guys. Like, I know they're legitimately from the place that they are. Like, they have the shirt on and the vehicle, but the way we check stuff in and out, if you don't get something checked out and it goes out, it becomes a complete pain in the butt. And I don't hardly ever deal with that. So I'm trying to get them to slow down a little bit so I can figure out what's going on. Because I completely believe that that's what they're there for. But then they were missing one, so we have like this rack with all kinds of other rugs. So they're going over there, going through that and trying to grab stuff off it as well. And I'm trying to slow them down. Well, during this, the truck is overfilling. So now I have like probably 10 gallons of water that I have to squeegee out. All because these guys just like won't take a minute or two. They weren't even supposed to be there till like a certain time. They're like 20 minutes early. Oh, I was so mad. Like, just, I don't know.
What if they weren't the people that are supposed to pick it up and they were just thieves? Like,
that were stealing rugs? I don't know. But it's one of those, people do it. Like, I see people do it to like servers at like customers do it basically places where you don't have any idea what's going on for the people working there.
Yeah.
And no relent and like just pushing, trying to get your thing taken care of. And it's like, you might be making a bigger mess for yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just really irritating. Like, it makes me think of all the times in customer service where people are terrible to people, which is relevant to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, so eventually I had like wet feet and was squeegeeing stuff, and other people showed up and they're like, I was like, hey, nice heads up on that. And they're like, well, you weren't here when it was decided. And I stopped myself because I want to be like, well, yeah, it would make sense to not tell the one person that you know is going to be here early when these guys are probably going to show up. Like, drives me crazy.
I know.
But yeah, like, I don't know. We kind of talked about it last week because we were not very positive. It's been a frustrating time. I think 2020 is getting to people.
Wearing you down?
Yeah, I think so. Like, just tired of stuff. So, all right. Well, let's talk about something more enjoyable here. I say we go to video games.
Okay.
Get over here! Time's up. Let's do this.
All right. So, want to talk about Hearthstone for a second? Because Hearthstone is amusing me, in a sense. So the big thing, and have you ever checked out the Hearthstone Reddit by any chance?
No.
Do not go there. In general, Reddit is not a good place.
I pretty much stay away from Reddit.
I will look at the wrestling stuff there, and sometimes I'll scroll through all as kind of like a news source. Like, there's a few specific things that, like, if you're going to try to find out any kind of news or something, Reddit's pretty useful. Video, like, I assume sporting events and all video game stuff is just a ton of negativity. So that being said, basically everyone's just piling on this, and I was critical of it last week too, and I'm still going to be a little bit, but I don't think that Blizzard should be burned down. I would like to get that out of the way. Like, people are just not happy with this pass, and then Blizzard hasn't really responded yet either. Which not at all helping things for them. But so, have you been playing any Hearthstone at all, or about the same amount as normal?
I've been playing. I've played a lot of Battleground.
Okay,
Duels.
So I've played. Yeah, I haven't touched duels in a while because I've been trying to figure out the whole Battle Pass thing. Because again, it doesn't tell you that the quests don't work in certain things. And that drives me crazy, because I used to use the Tavern Brawl, because sometimes I'll have like the random Tavern Brawl where everything's random, or there's something kind of neat about where it's like, you know what, I don't really feel like playing on ladder, but I'll play this Tavern Brawl a couple times and knock out this quest
just to finish your quest out and everything.
Right. Well, and it's just like a kind of different game mode that you're not going to get to experience one way or the other, like when you get like all the spider death rattle ones, things like that, where it's just, and sometimes you get something real broken to happen that's cool, and sometimes you're on the receiving end of it, but it's still just a totally different way to play in a lot of cases. Well, I don't think anything short of a quest that specifically says play Tavern Brawl, like even spending mana or playing cards, doesn't work in it, is what it seems like. And I don't know where that's covered. Like, it doesn't say anything. The quest still looks the same, where it's like, oh, play 3 games. As long as it's not this, or spend mana. So still, that kind of irritating. But like Battlegrounds, I keep getting achievement pop-ups. They're going to spoil what's going to happen. to the battle. Technically, I don't think I care about that because I use the tracker that shows me like the percentage when the match starts up, or like you're 90% to win, 10% to lose, or like 70% to tie, whatever it might be. So I generally have kind of like an idea already, like as soon as the match starts, what's going to happen. But the fact that the achievement 100% spoils what's about to happen. To where it's like, if it's a 90-10, it's like, oh, there's still a 10% chance of this other outcome. I wonder what's going to happen. Whereas once you get the achievement pop up, it's over.
Yeah.
But I've played, I think I've hit like level 22 on the achievement track.
Okay.
And I think my next thing is a pack for the last expansion, which doesn't really feel any good because I still need, because I bought like the big pack and then bought, I think 20 or so packs with gold, maybe.
Okay.
So I mean, not a ton of packs, but I definitely bought, that's a good chunk of packs, and I didn't get hardly anything that I actually need when it comes to some of the key cards for deck builds.
Yeah.
So they definitely need to kind of rework it or just do something, because it's going to take me 2 or 3 days before I see any more gold from the reward pass. And I saw someone, they tried to break it down from a math standpoint, that it is technically better than what we had before. Depending on your play. I would say that.
Yeah.
Like, you're at the end, you will get more. However, what you can't do anymore is, I don't know if you remember, like, say you wanted to get a pack, but you had 90 gold. Well, you could grind out 3 wins and get 10 gold. Now you have to, like, basically the experience, like the experience you get from playing a game is based on time in the game. So to try to grind, but it gets to a point where if you don't have any quests, it's going to take hours to grind out the experience to try to hit the next little bump in the road.
Yeah.
So, like, much like when they used to balance some of the cards, where they would say, yeah, this card's not actually bad from a statistical standpoint, but it feels bad, and we don't want that. Yeah. I feel like there's an awful lot of aspects of the battle reward pass thing that, even though it might be better, it sure doesn't feel better.
Sure.
And for the fact that there was, now that was like the old guard of Hearthstone, like when Ben Brode and stuff like that was there. I haven't heard him say that in a long time, as far as like balancing, but it's like, you definitely have been concerned in the past of things feeling bad versus actually being bad. Seems like this might be a case that you need to do something. Because like, even like the super like pro Blizzard content creators are just like ragging on this thing. And then like the community in general wants to basically go like Bugs Bunny and blow California off the United States into the ocean just to teach Blizzard a lesson. So
yeah.
But with that said, I have played more Hearthstone than I ever have in like the last 6 months. So
yeah.
I'm like somewhere in the middle of the gold rank for ranked games, because usually I only played rank if I really needed to like get through a quest, and then I would just play Battlegrounds. But I've been trying to figure out like what the most XP that you can gain is, and it seems like kicking off a Battleground and just AFKing will get you a decent amount of points.
Okay.
So if you see me on and it says I'm playing a Battleground, but I'm not, and you type me something and I don't respond, it's probably because I'm doing something else and just letting the Battleground AFK to try to grind some experience. And then I guess there were people in Wild who had bots playing Odd Warrior, where the bot would just hit the hero power and rope every turn. Because win or lose, it just matters how long the match goes.
Yeah.
So, and if you, if the person concedes because they don't want to deal with that. But yeah, so they've created an interesting scenario for sure.
Monster.
Yeah. It's like, I believe I don't know. it's just the way they handled the release and the information. They just didn't do a good job of it because they said things that people are like, that's not true. They're like, oh, we'll fix it. And then it seems like they released it exactly in the same state. And people are like, we told you that that wasn't true. And they're like, oh, it is. No, what? So, good luck. I'm sure they're all looking like, oh, I can't wait to go back to work Monday. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
So Shadowlands for the Warcraft expansion. I have not managed to hit level cap yet. 58 and a half.
I haven't either.
Now, I did switch from my mage to my warrior after a level or so playing. So if I would have just played one character, I easily would have hit it. I just haven't had the time to finish it out yet. But I did get to... so just in case somehow people are listening to this for the Warcraft part, there'll probably be a little bit of spoilers to some of the story stuff. So just be aware of that going in here. I've made it up to the Venthyr.
I could not tell you anything about the story.
Really?
I skipped the cinematics.
Wow. Like, even the first time through? Because, like, second time through, I'm skipping them 100%. But first time through, now, I'm not going to say I've read all the quest text. But I've read some of the quest text. Because you can usually tell, like, if you look and you're getting an item for the quest, it's probably, like, an actual story beat. As opposed to, if you're not getting anything except XP in a lot of cases, it's probably the kill 6 of something quest. And they're going to be like, oh, these minions are creating a havoc for the soldiers. You need to... Let's help them out by killing... So there's not, like, really a true story element. And I've only been doing campaign quests for the most part. Like, I stopped all the sides. Since it's super easy now to tell which one is a main story quest versus a stupid quest. So, big thanks to Blizzard for changing that.
I figured that I have 3 years to watch the story, so
to accidentally find out about the story.
I'll watch it eventually.
What I'm trying to figure out right now. Did you notice that Uther is a bad guy?
Yeah. I was a little puzzled by that.
I'm real curious.
The storyline probably would have told me that, but
no, it does not tell you. Like,
okay.
So the big beat to that is Uther was sent to basically be one of the winged people, we'll call him.
Yeah.
And he was so hung up on Arthas having killed him that he still has like a wound from where Frostmourne stabbed him. Mm-hmm. So even though so at the time Arthas died, like basically Uther and his Sith master, we'll call them. Like it feels like that's what it was, because like they're like, you need to abandon this Uther guy because he's no good or something like that. But she instead decided to double down on it. And they're like, all right, so who did this? This Arthas guy? All right. So as soon as he dies, we're going to get him. Instead of Arthas dying and being judged fairly, Uther intercepts him and they drop him into the maw.
Yep.
Super summarizing this. But that...
Now, I mean, we're getting Arthas in here, right? I mean...
I assume
there's no way Arthas is not coming back. Either as a super bad guy, super good guy, something.
I mean, I would think that there has to be a part where you at least, this is my speculation, because since we are the mall walker, we're like one of the few people who are able to go in and out of the mall. Like, it's just, people can't do it. Or living people for sure can't do it. The fact that we're trying to save like Jaina and Thrall and Anduin and everybody from the mall.
Yeah.
I would assume at some point there's going to be like an Uther story, and then I would think you would get Arthas out and let him be properly judged. Like maybe he should be in the mall, but I don't know, because Uther was saying that what he was doing was justice, but it certainly seemed a lot more like vengeance to me.
Yes.
Based on what it was, because it wasn't 100% Arthas that was doing all the horrible things. Like, he is clearly corrupted and not himself anymore.
Yes.
course, now the culling of Stratholme, I mean, that was more Arthas doing what he thought was right, and he might have been.
It's practical. There's an argument there that he's like, well, hey, they were already going to turn into zombies anyway.
Yeah, no one else wanted to really do anything either, it seemed like, except let the problem get out of hand.
The calling of Stratholme's always kind of amused me because Jane and everybody was like totally against what he was doing, but I mean, they were going to turn into zombies anyway.
Yeah.
But did you just want to wait to become before they became monsters and then kill them? Arthas was just putting them out of their misery, you know.
Right.
I don't know. There's an argument for it.
When you talk about the gray area elements for characters,
Yes.
I think that's a good example. Burning down a tree, not such a gray area.
Well, no.
But that's okay, because Sylvanas is definitely not going to be like Garrosh.
Yes.
I would love to see... I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So, have you enjoyed the expansion? Like, just... So you've pretty much been skipping, like, any story element other than, like, what you just kind of intuit that's going on.
Where I'm forced to see it, yes.
Where it is forced upon you against your will.
Yeah, man, I've enjoyed it so far.
It feels good. I wonder, because people really didn't like BFA.
Okay.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it, and I kind of wonder, because, so, WoW's kind of got that cycle going, where Warlords of Draenor, I mean, I think it's safe to say that there was some really good stuff at the beginning of that expansion, but then it was just like, I mean, we basically knew Blizzard had abandoned it at a certain point for Legion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, like, the way the patches came out, how long it was between patches, like, the expectations going into Legion were rock bottom. Like,
Sure.
like they were not high. So Legion being even remotely good was going to make it seem like the best thing ever. Well, for me going into BFA, like, oh, we're doing faction war again, but this time it's going to be serious, and there's going to be consequences, and there's going to be gray areas for the characters, and it was like, no, you're not. Like, I think pretty much everyone was like, I don't think they're going to, either they're not going to stick to this, or they're not going to do, like, whatever vision they have for it, they are not going to actually stick to it and execute it correctly. And I would say, based on how they did it, they failed.
Well, how they introduced it was the only way you could have made that storyline good, I think, is to force everyone into PvP.
Yeah.
And people, I mean, some people don't like PvP. So they're like, oh, we can't really do that. So we'll try. And I think they pulled back a little bit. And because they pulled back, the original idea just. Like an AEW storyline with the COVIDs.
Where all of a sudden you're like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, they pull back about it, and you're like, it's not as good as it could have been. So, yeah.
Right. Much like my turkey.
Yes.
So with BFA, like, I was pretty skeptical in the beginning. The way you had to, like, island expeditions were terrible.
Yes, I agree with that.
I think I did 10 of them. It was like, I just don't want to do this. I tried leveling a character with one, and I was like, because that was the quick way to level. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. This is garbage.
Yeah, I didn't hear a word of that because you broke up on me.
Oh, sorry. I could tell your side got real quiet. I don't know. Basically, I was saying, like, the island expeditions, that, like, even when I tried to level a character, when that was the quickest way to level, I just couldn't get into them at all. So,
Gotcha.
And then, let's see. So, yeah, I wasn't super into the story because I just wasn't convinced when they talked about, like, Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, I mean, there's an awful lot of opportunity to do some cool stuff with the Alliance and make them maybe a little bit the bad guys or something like that.
Sure.
Where, like, or, you know, Greymane could have done something with burning the tree down and try to frame Sylvanas.
Sure.
Like, there was a lot of things they could have done, but it really felt like, I'm pretty sure the Alliance are the good guys here, based on everything that was going on.
Pretty much, yes.
And which I'm okay with, since I play pretty much always Alliance. I'm okay with being the good guy, but I sure would like to have some depth to some of the story for the Alliance
Well,
side.
I mean, and what's his name? Sourfang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he clearly was a good guy. I mean, he had honor. He reminded me of pretty much a Klingon, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he was all about honor and everything, and so he was clearly a good guy. But yeah, Sylvanas, no, she was a bad guy. There's no way around that. I mean,
Well, more of the story when it came to that, it was more like a horde-based story.
yeah,
And, like the Alliance were just kind of
there.
who knows? Like Anduin was playing around with his sword. I don't know what he was doing. Much like Varian, he just kind of sat in the throne room and didn't do a whole lot. So
Sure. No, at least Varian went out with like a hero.
yes, I'm sure
Unlike
Anduin
most
will
of the
one day.
Unlike most warriors. And yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, he went out actually doing something in a fight. But yeah, so
Yes.
well, overall the story, because it's basically something's wrong with the Shadowlands. It's Sylvanas and the Jailer are doing something. They have Anima, which is basically like the energy source. So I'm to Venthyr now, which is like the gothic vampire kids. So it's basically you're just going through a giant Hot Topic store is what it feels like so far.
Okay.
However, for the war, so I'm playing warrior. The Covenant ability is something that changes your execute ability,
Okay.
where you can use it at the front half and the bottom half of their health. And it does like one of those absorb, like the next amount of damage they do is negated kind of thing. So that's kind of neat. I think it's a slight DPS loss, maybe, but the fact that you can use it on the front end, I think makes it pretty good. But their armor, like, have you looked at the Covenant armor sets yet?
I see them. I've not like went in detail about them, but I mean they look cool, but I've not seen their stats.
So for warrior, I'm probably going Venthyr, because they have the cool. It's them or Bastion have the two armor sets, but the Bastion ability I don't really care for. So I'm okay there. Like, so I can go Venthyr with the warrior. When I eventually level my mage, I think the cloth set, the Bastion one, is the best. So even though that's not the faction I really would want to go, they have the coolest gear, so I'll probably go with them.
Gotcha.
Because again, I'm within reason of min-maxing, but I'm not going to 100% it on the Covenant choice. Plus, they'll change it somewhere midway through the expansion, and it'll not matter at all.
They will. Yeah.
But, yeah, so even though I haven't hit the level cap, so I don't know what all goes on with like the dailies and all that craziness. I haven't really, the people I watch stream for the most part, they haven't really gotten into it a ton yet that I've seen. But it seems like a good expansion. I mean, my expectations were low. So as long as they don't have something just absolutely ridiculous in it, maybe I'll actually make it into patch 1 of this one's still playing. We'll have to see.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm going to start saying that it's not that Blizzard's every other expansion is good. It's that they set the bar so low with the in-between one that an okay one seems great. So hopefully that's what we get, though.
I just blame Activision. I blame.
I have to assume. Well, I
Activision
mean,
is terrible.
most of the actual Blizzard people are gone. Like the original have all moved on. So, I mean, at least we don't have a battle pass for Warcraft yet. And I mean, it's the subscription cost has been the same for the entire game time frame. So that goes back to, I was talking with my wife the other day. She was talking about like, she's like, oh, we should have tried to go somewhere and wait in line to get a PS5. And I was like, I think I'd rather get the Xbox this go round. But then she was like, aren't the games like $70? And I was like, yeah, but I was like, they've always been. I was like, I remember buying original Nintendo games that were like $64.99. Like, the cost of a video game hasn't really changed. They've just added extra transactions.
People that's never been into video games don't really understand that. It's like, they've always been expensive, I hate to tell you.
I mean, arguably, they're cheaper now than they used to be.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing I can ever remember is spending $64.99, so $70 after tax, for that first WrestleMania game on Nintendo.
Okay.
It was like the side scroller. Oh, it was terrible. But that was all there was, and it was like, oh, sweet, finally a wrestling game. Like, I think Hulk Hogan was wearing red in it because yellow didn't show up good.
I still remember paying, I think, $50, and it still burns me to this day for a stupid Superman game on Nintendo 64. So
at least that game is so bad that there's a story to it. Like,
sure.
did you ever watch the Angry Video Game Nerd episode of that game?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, were you like, yep, he's pretty much spot on?
Oh yeah. Yep.
What do you think about the people when they do the games done quick and they do the like the speed runs of that game?
Yeah.
Are you like, wow, that's amazing? Or are you like, yeah, I'd speed run it too to be done with it as quick as humanly possible?
I just like, why would you waste your time being good at a game that
Is that
terrible?
bad?
Yeah.
The speedrunning world is weird because it's like, this is one of the worst games ever. I'm going to speedrun it because no one else is.
Sure.
You're like,
Sure. Yeah.
but I mean, that's your niche, so to say. All right, let us move on. I have not watched episode 3 or 4 of Mando.
Okay.
Mandalorian.
Pretty good.
I've heard good things.
Yep.
So brief spoiler here because I think everyone's seen it. So the child has a name now.
Yep.
What's his name?
It's terrible.
Isn't it like
Drago.
or Gorko or something?
Orgo. It's terrible. They should have came up with a better name than
What they
came
did.
up with. I'm just like, that's not that doesn't roll off the tongue. Sorry, like Yoda, that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Gorgo or whatever his name is. No. So,
Goro.
that's my only complaint.
It's actually just call him Goro.
Goro.
Yeah, I saw it spelled out and I was like, that doesn't seem like a very good name. But
Well,
I mean,
yeah. There's a couple issues I have with the episode I saw yesterday, the latest one. It's almost kind of like they forget that Luke's in this universe, and he's the most powerful Jedi ever. So it just bothers me sometimes.
I've seen like some different things. I feel like they're going to get themselves into trouble at some point with like Jedi power levels.
Sure.
Because I don't think they take the time. Because like, so Yoda was very powerful with the Force, but like Mace Windu, as far as just being a warrior, was super powerful. But there's like, it's like a caster versus like a melee DPS almost, where it balances itself to a degree, but yeah, like storyline wise, it's like, oh, this person's the great, and it's like, well, maybe not. I mean, Darth Maul definitely ranks at the bottom, but
yeah. Well, and now this could be my Star Wars, being dumb. I don't know a lot about the Star Wars universe. I would think that people would know who Luke is at this point because the Empire is destroyed.
Right.
I mean, did we not mention Luke at all? Because in the movies, the original movies, he's a pretty big deal. Everyone is talking about him and everything. And it's like no one.
Maybe once everything was done, he was like, all right, what we need to do is not make this about me, but make it about the rebellion.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
so it wasn't
I can
me.
see that.
It was the rebellion. Now I'm going to go sit on this throne over here and turn to ice for a few movies.
And I can, like the original way they portrayed Luke, I can see Luke doing that. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like I said,
But there's
I
nothing that
understand why
says
you
that
don't
that's
wanna...
what happened, which would clear everything up a lot. Where it was like,
Sure.
the beginning of episode 7 or whatever, be like, oh, after that, Luke made it a point that everyone involved not talk about what he did and his role, because it needed to be more about the rebellion and the Republic than about him. That's all you got to say, and then it's canon. And maybe it's canon somewhere in a book, but I don't know because Disney changed a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that'd be, if I'm trying to come up with a way to explain it, that why don't people know about Luke, that makes the most sense to me. But I don't know if that's official, and if it's not, I feel like that's a pretty good idea, and maybe they should fix that.
Well, I understand why the Mandalorian wouldn't want to focus a lot on Luke, because it's not like you're going to get Mark Hamill to become young again. So, I mean,
they could get him to
technology.
They could get him to voice something.
Sure,
He's an excellent voice actor.
I don't know.
That would be funny, actually, to have like some character that he's the voice actor for, and just make vague references all the time, like in one of the more funny episodes. But so, without like super spoilers to it, do they actually meet up with the Jedi?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is the portrayal what you would hope for from like the animated?
The team up with because there's actually a line that goes a Jedi and a Mandalorian, they're not going to have a chance. So that was a pretty cool line, because there's a scene where it's pretty cool.
Okay, so I'll be pleased when I watch it.
Yeah, Ahsoka. I think her name is Ahsoka, right?
I'm not sure on the pronunciation. I've only ever seen it written out, so because I didn't watch the animated stuff.
She, the actress that they have playing her does a pretty good job with her.
Okay, I saw some people were complaining that like she has tails on her headdress or whatever.
Okay.
That they were not long enough, so people were unhappy about that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Which tells me that there weren't other major things to complain about.
Her tunic that she wears, she's missing a third button with that's supposed to be red and green, and then in the movie it's blue. I have a problem with that. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty accurate. You're doing a very good job. Are you sure you're not one of the internet people?
Yes. Yeah.
But all right. So yeah, I'll look into it here probably before next week, and then I don't know. Is it going to make me start wanting to watch like the animated, like the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that? Am I going to get sucked into a Star Wars wormhole here?
I mean, to understand more of her, maybe, yes.
Great.
Yep.
Because I'm so good at watching shows. All right, let's talk real quick. Did you watch Survivor Series or any Dynamite or any wrestling this week?
I watched Hulk Hogan and HBK at SummerSlam for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Oh, like
I watched
the one-on-one match?
Yeah.
Oh, that match is so good.
I watched it. Yeah.
So let's see, 47. Hold on, let me do the bumper real quick.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue pants. This is a revolution.
Okay. But yeah, so the that match is completely crazy.
Sure. Shawn Michaels overacting is great.
I mean, he oversells everything.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Because he does the like when Hogan.
Now you told me the explanation that he gave.
Yes.
Which, if that was the reason why, it makes sense, because I guess Shawn Michaels did do that back in the day. But it also kind of seems like he was just being a spoiled baby, and like, no, I didn't want to do that. So I don't know.
So I've heard, 'cause this fascinates me because I don't think we'll ever know for sure what's true. One of the things that Michaels has talked about somewhere, I forget where it was, is that they basically, it started out where it's supposed to be like 2 out of 3 match series. And then they scrapped that, and basically it would have been an okay match. Like, they would have had like a good match, but they're never going to have like a Hogan Rock level of a match. So he did that to make it memorable.
Sure.
Now, I've also heard from various podcasts of people involved with it, things like that, it's supposed to be like a 3-match series where Michaels was going to lose that one. They're going to have another one where he was going to win, and then I think Hogan was going to end the third. Or they're going to do 2 matches and split it. And I guess it became kind of what they talked about, where the behind the scenes, it became very difficult to get Hogan to agree to lose to Michaels in even one match.
Yeah.
And then supposedly Hogan wanted like the 90s HBK, which he was like, I don't think that's and Miles was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Essentially. But they went.
Michaels just went, all right, you want the 90s? I'm going to give you the 90s.
They're like, I don't. It seems like if that's the case, it's one of those. I don't know if you realize what you're asking for, but here we go.
You know what? And if that is true, and I 100% agree with Michaels, and it's like, all right, this is what you want. I'm going to give you exactly what you want. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw there. And then I think it was like, I just don't know. I don't know if we'll ever really know for sure. Because, like, there's still, like, that speculation about, like, the whole Montreal Screwjob thing.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, maybe one day we find out that was, like, all planned.
After watching the interview with Scott Hall, he kind of sold me on that it's a work.
Well, you would have, for that to work, you basically have to have people who are super committed to the business.
Yeah.
For it. And Michaels, Hart, and McMahon would definitely be the kind of people who would do that.
Oh, sure.
And it would explain why Undertaker wasn't more heavily involved in what was going on, which was kind of out of character at that time. So there's always going to be like just that little bit of doubt.
Well, yeah, like Scott Hall says, he's like, you're not doing that type of stuff on TV unless McMahon wants you to do it on TV. So I kind of agree with him. So,
yeah, there is enough plausibility that we'll probably always wonder. Maybe we'll find out on somebody's deathbed, but
sure,
maybe not. But yeah, so I sort of watched Survivor Series.
Okay,
it was okay. Really, it comes down to Roman Reigns is doing some of the best work he's ever done.
Sure. Have they called him War Chief yet, or are they still going with Tribal Chief?
He's like the head of the table, or the Tribal Chief, or whatever. Yeah, War Chief would be way better.
Just call him War Chief. I don't understand that.
I'm assuming there's actual, like, the Tribal Chief is like a legitimate title within the Samoan heritage, so that's probably why they're going with that.
Okay.
Now, if we can get him playing Warcraft and into Thrall, War Chief might be something that we can get him to go with, or maybe that's his final form. Like,
yes.
Like someone like finally pushes him to a point, but yeah, like all the stuff that Roman's been doing with Jey Uso has been real good. I sort of like I mostly just read up the Raw and SmackDown stuff this week. Was let down that Miz did not cash in the Money in the Bank.
Can we talk about Braun Strowman? His outfit. What is up with? I mean, I've not watched him in a while.
He's been wearing some big gloves or something.
Is he a commando now? What's the role he's going for?
I'm not sure. I feel
he looks like a poor cop off of like a James Bond villain, one of the James Bond villains, henchman. Like he's, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I noticed that his gear is kind of weird. I don't know. He's like from the little bit that I've been able to gather, he's either in a holding pattern or they just lost interest in him. Like I don't know.
Sure.
Something happened because it seems like a dude that big should always be doing something. But McIntyre and Roman like are killing it right now. So I don't like. He's just kind of like odd man out.
Yeah.
Which is weird because there was a time where it was like, well, that's clearly your guy, since you're not going to do these other things. But yeah, so I don't know if they've had anything other major happen, but basically the Roman storyline is really the big thing to me that I even kind of keep up on. So let's see. I did not watch any old stuff. I watched pretty much all of Dynamite this week. It was pretty. I thought it was pretty good. We got a Hangman John Silver match, which
I saw that one. Yeah.
Like for just like it wasn't like a super long match, but I thought this was like it met what I was hoping out of these two. Because like Silver trying to be friendly with Hangman, and then at the end where like Evil Uno comes out and they're trying to get him to join the Dark Order. I honestly kind of want that story where he joins them just because he has no one.
I think it's just setting up Hangman and Brody Lee when Brody Lee comes back.
Yeah, like he's not going to have any part of it or something. It just
Something.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that too because I think those guys will have a good match. But just anything that, like Hangman interacting with the Dark Order, is a pretty good storyline. So I just want some BTE stuff with all of them hanging out because I think that would be fantastic. Let me see. I saw someone be critical that because Silver is smaller than Paige, they should have played into that. And it's like, dude, Silver is like super stocky and is probably stronger than Paige.
I've seen him in the Indies.
Yeah,
he's a pretty strong guy.
Yeah, so I think that in this match, like him being technically smaller than Paige doesn't really matter.
And he's like Alexa Bliss with his facial expressions. He tells a story way better than
a lot of people.
Majority of the So I think he's a future star.
Silver?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think him, like, there's people like Silver is clearly going to be at least like the TNT championship level. Like, no doubt. Paige, clearly world champion at some point, I would have to say, unless he just forgets how to, like, do everything. Like, they got a lot of people that you can tell are going to be something at some point in time. So
and they have a lot of people they're forcing down your throat that I'm just like, these guys, they don't have it yet. Or I don't know. Stop trying to push these guys because they suck. So
right. Well, at least the upside is pretty good. And it's like the people they're building, they're taking their time with. So it doesn't feel forced. So maybe that's the way they feel. But either way, like this match was good. If these guys got like a proper like 20-minute pay-per-view match with some actual story to it, it'd probably be really good. But yeah, Buckshot Lariat, Silver flips like 47 times. And Evil Uno, who continues to lose weight constantly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Kenny Omega is basically doing full-on cleaner kind of stuff, it seems like.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like, he's the cleaner, I guess, but it's kind of like he's putting on a show. Like, you want the cleaner, I'm the cleaner, but I'm not really buying.
He hasn't like mentally switched it yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know.
Right, where he's impersonating the cleaner at this point, but
pretty much, yeah.
Well, and later on, like Moxley beats the crap out of him. Well, I don't know if he beats the crap out of him, but he drops him with the paradigm on the belt. So maybe it'll be for the match. Maybe you get like full on cleaner.
Yeah,
like that, like kind of cements it. Because again, like he's into the subtlety stuff and long term, so I could see that might be what he's going for. They did do a thing during this one where Moxley like looks at Eddie Kingston, and Kingston's like, it wasn't me who jumped you, which I like that they at least addressed that you would think that someone you'd been feuding with might jump you, so they at least super short, but they at least addressed it. It's like, okay, great. We got Powerhouse Hobbs with the full-on Tasmaniac gimmick coming out. I like it. He pretty much just beat the crap out of poor Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, Lee Johnson is going to be good. And it's to the point now where it's like, okay, I want Lee Johnson to start winning a little bit. Like, but, I mean, this was obviously all about Will Hobbs and Taz. So, again, Hobbs talking about, it's all business, nothing personal kind of stuff. So, I do hope that he goes back to, like, the shorts style gear. Like, even if he does, like, the orange and black singlet. Because he spent more time, like, adjusting his gear than anything else. And for some reason, when wrestlers do that, it drives me insane. But yeah, so we get, like, a big thing with Taz talking about the FTW championship that Cody comes out with.
Yeah.
Because you had mentioned previously, like, you're like, they're, what's up with the FTW title? Does Taz kind of like getting hot about this and like yelling at them? Does that help you a little bit with that, where like they're addressing it?
Yeah, I kind of like because they're kind of playing to how I feel about Cody right now.
Yeah.
That he's just conceited, and they're like, yeah, sure, yeah, if you want your little championship, FTW, whatever, we don't really care about it one way or the type thing. So I think they're disrespecting the FTW championship, which is good. I think it's doing more for it. So
right. Well, it's being done on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I don't know what the end game is. Now obviously they're also introducing Taz's son Hook, it would appear.
Yes.
Which I don't know if I knew Taz had a son. Like I'm sure. I
just knew he had a cousin that he beat up all the time at ECW.
So. But yeah, so I'm real interested. Taz on the microphone is good. Like, give him anything. We got the Kata Hajime or the Taz Mission on Cody. I thought he was going to suplex him myself, but
let me just stop you. Like, out of all the managers that AEW has introduced, Jake the Snake, Vicky Guerrero, Taz is the only one that's actually done anything that's
been physical.
I don't know.
Well, I think he's the only one that can. Well, because Arn's done like a spine buster here and there, but like Arn's not going to be doing anything. Jake, I don't think he's.
I don't know. Just give me something where they're talking on because the reason they brought him in is because they're mouthpieces for the younger people.
Yeah.
Taz is the only one that's been a good mouthpiece for anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think because Arn's really just like a coach.
Clipboard holder. Yeah.
Yes. So Arn is 100% doing what he should be. Like, he's not supposed to be the focal point. Now Tully, when he talks with FTR, for FTR he's enhancement, where for Sean Spears I think he is the mouthpiece. And the best stuff with Sean Spears has been when Tully has spoken, I would say.
Sure, I'll agree with that.
But yeah, like Jake is good, but like that's a weird dynamic for those two.
They're a weird couple.
Yeah.
They're just, I don't know, they're weirdos.
And then I'm trying to think, like, and like Vicky with Nyla haven't really done anything with it, so I don't know what to think. But at the moment, I would have to say it's not all that great. Well, either way, let's see here. Top Flight and Hybrid 2. I really like TH2's music. Like, it's grown on me an awful lot.
Sure.
But yeah, so TH2 actually won this match, which surprised me. But they're building up a Young Bucks against TH2 match, which they need to do a lot to convince me that TH2 has a shot in the world of beating Nick and Matt.
Yes.
Let's see.
Heard that.
Speak of the devil, Nyla Rose and Vicky. I think I halfway fell asleep at that point in time, so I didn't really see that, but it doesn't seem like, we got the SCU and Jericho and Hager. It just seems that of the two people to put together as a tag team that's not Santana and Ortiz, Jericho being with Sammy or being with MJF seems like a way better pairing. But I'm just mostly not. I want to like Jake, but I just don't care.
Sure.
So.
And that's why you put him with Jericho to get people to care.
No, it's not working.
Sure.
Like, I mean, he's a legitimate dude. He's fine in the ring, but just something about him just doesn't do it.
He's
for
vanilla.
me.
He's vanilla. He's just blah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get, Inner Circle goes over, not a surprise there. Kip and Miro, so there's part of me that really likes the best friends, And the other part of me is like, why are they always involved? Like, if you get tangled up with the best friends, the next 6 months of your life, you are destined to deal with them.
Yes.
I think I would just be like, you know what? I was wrong. I don't want to see you guys for the next 6 months of my life. Please go away. Maybe that's their strategy. Like, they're going to get a shot at the Young Bucks. Like,
They wear you down.
Nick's going to be like, dude, no matter what, we're going to be fighting these guys for 6 months. I'm just going to go on a singles run as the merch freak, and these guys can have the belts because I don't want to deal with it. We'll get them back after they lose them.
The best friends is kind of like, are we still doing this? Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, like, I like what you said, like, where they just wear you down over time. That's what they did to Santana and Ortiz, is they just, like, wouldn't go away, and then eventually they tricked them into this, like, super violent match. And then Orange Cassidy blindsides one of them, and they just obliterated them. Like, it's the long con. They're actually the bad guys.
Have you ever been to a party and you ask yourself, like, halfway through the party, like, why am I here? I don't really like this person all that much, but you stay. And I don't know. That's how I feel when the best friends do anything.
Well, yeah, because it's funny, because, like, I like them, but then it's like, sometimes it's like a feud ends too quickly, and other times it's like the feud just won't go away. Kind of like Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns were at one point this year.
Yes.
That's like the best friends gimmick now. Is it just like, poor Kip and Miro and Penelope, they're doomed. They're going to be haunted by the best friends until they trick them into some kind of like shark-infested water match. And then they're going to get like, the fourth best friend is going to show up.
Yes.
All right. So this we sort of talked about. They did the Kenny Omega Moxley finally signs. He beats the crap out of Omega. They, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I have to assume that Kenny's winning this match.
I would assume that Moxley's going to Japan or going to take some time off to be with his wife. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Or it's just, I guess someone was saying like Omega has like a labrum issue in his shoulder.
Yeah.
But it's not like he can work through it. He has full range of motion and stuff.
Yeah.
So someone was saying it was like, well, if he loses, we'll have a pretty good idea that it's probably due to the shoulder. But if he wins, then he's totally fine, kind of thing.
Sure.
But we'll see. I expect it to be a good match. I hope we get Moxley in wrestling tights, though, as opposed to camo long pants.
Sure.
I prefer that aesthetic for like a match, since Kenny's basically saying kind of what MJF did, where he's like, it's going to be a wrestling match. I'm not gonna brawl with you. I'm not gonna pull out weapons, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Did you catch Anna Jay against Sheeta?
Yeah. And then I saw the terrible gimmick. I mean,
Abaddon?
I don't get it. I guess she's okay. But her wrestling skill is not that great. I don't.
I need to see more, but anytime you do, because like I think TNA had like a Rosemary gimmick.
Yeah.
But anytime you get any kind of like monster or undead, because of the time frame I grew up in, I immediately just think Undertaker ripoff.
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah.
And I mean, given time, like the Abaddon thing might work for me, but as it is right now, it's really hard for me not to just be like Undertaker ripoff.
It's this is kind of like sidetracking a little bit, but did you see how Paul Bearer came?
Yeah, the hologram.
Hologram.
Yes.
It was funny because I read some guy's comment said it should have been DiBiase. Since DiBiase's the one that brought him in.
Well, DiBiase or Brother Love.
Well, yeah, but didn't DiBiase's the one?
Well, DiBiase,
he's the one that brought him in, right?
He brought him in for his Survivor Series team, but Brother Love was his manager.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then, so it was Brother Love, and then it was dropped from Brother Love to Paul Bearer, and then when Undertaker went away, DiBiase brought back fake Undertaker, where he used a wad of money instead of the urn to control him. And then Paul Bearer brought back Undertaker. Paul Bearer eventually turns on Undertaker. And then eventually Paul Bearer comes back, turns on him, comes back.
I understand why you use Paul Bearer because,
that's the association.
Known. I understand that, but I just thought it was funny. They're like, should have been Ted DiBiase there.
I mean, you could argue for that or Brother Love. Although, it would look real weird for him doing the Undertaker thing to Brother Love. DiBiase would make more sense, but to Brother Love would be hilarious.
No, I think DiBiase would have been hilarious because he could have had like a roll of money. Like, see, it's always been about the money.
Yeah, he's always been evil. Yeah, it was like Paul Bearer. It's like, oh, Undertaker went out as a good guy. If it's DiBiase, he goes out as a bad guy. If it's Brother Love, you're just like, what is going on? Is that guy like an angel?
Baffle people.
Yeah. I'm sure someone photoshopped both of those guys into that image. So
sure.
All right.
Yeah, but the whole Abaddon. I'm sorry, I'm just not into it. I don't care.
I need to see something pretty crazy to be like, all right, I've bought into it. Like, it could definitely happen, but
well, tell me. So they need to tell me. So is she dead? Is she a zombie? Is she just a lunatic spitting fake blood out of her mouth? I mean,
honestly, if they went she's a lunatic pretending to be a dead person, that might be a better way to go about it.
Sure, something.
I don't know what the official story is. I haven't heard them talk about it. So we got, for the main event, basically because you're getting Pac back, Butcher Blade. This match was pretty good. The big thing was that Butcher and Blade won. I thought 100%. I was like, there's no way. Like, I want Butcher and Blade to do good. Butcher won me over with that match against Moxley.
Yeah.
And then their look, but at the end, your boy Archer and Jake the Snake came out.
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to break people's spines by doing this weird crossbody over the ropes. Because I thought Blade was dead.
Yeah.
From that.
Well, you just have Jake the Snake on the side making faces and growling or something. And
well, at least he didn't have like a snakeskin bull rope or something with it.
There's weirdos. That's all I can say. There's weirdos. I don't get it.
They need, like, you could take them doing stuff with like sitcom music.
Yes.
And like go back and have like one shot where like he throws the guy through the panel ceiling, but then cut to like him with a big smile laughing, and then just like put Lance Archer in big yellow letters underneath it.
Yes.
And then I don't know, just stuff like that would be really funny. But I do like that and they quoted it here, like Jim Ross was like, how did Lance Archer get into this? And Sean was like, well, he's had a problem with Kingston ever since that anniversary show, and he's been trying to get his hands on him, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to close that up, but talk about open-ended.
Yeah.
Now, is that the example, because you've been a little more critical on some of their storytelling stuff. It's like this example where Archer and Kingston have kind of had like a beef, but haven't really gotten involved 100% yet. But they're like, now it looks like they're trying to kind of wrap that back up. Now, is this an example of you're okay with this because even though they took some time to get to it, they at least got to it? Or is it like this took too long?
I think it just took too long.
Okay. So is more of your issue the length of time some of the stuff takes to pay off?
Yeah.
Or like to where it just seems a little bit longer than it should?
Well, yeah, so let's say Monday for work. I punch you in the face.
Right.
I just punch you in the face. And then, like, January 1st, you come in. Saul, why did you punch me in the face? You know? I just...
I mean, that's true, but what if I had more important? Like, what if I had other people who had already punched me in the face that was more important? Like, what if I had to like go punch? If our boss was like, if you come punch me in the face, I'm going to give you a $5 an hour raise. So I get distracted by having other people to punch in the face. But I was like, Solomon, I'm still going to punch you in the face, but I got other people to punch first.
But okay. So you're having a feud with our boss, okay?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, he wants to punch you in the face. You want to punch him in the face, whatever. So you are already into a feud. So me and you have no beef whatsoever that you know of.
Right.
But out of the blue, I just punch you right in the face. I think you're going to address that pretty quickly.
It depends. Am I still trying to punch my boss in the face to get that extra money? Because you might. And for some reason, I'm only allowed to punch one person in the face at a time.
Yes.
Like, because I don't want to try to be punching you in the face, and then all of a sudden he finally punches me, so I don't get my raise. So I'm putting all my attention over there, but you're on my list.
Gotcha.
So,
don't
but I do understand what you're saying is like, but with this, it seems more like Eddie Kingston's just been like a nuisance to Archer. Like, he just made Archer mad and was irritating when he was like, you didn't technically beat me in the Battle Royal. And like, that's really what it was. And then Archer was like, can you believe this guy? If he doesn't shut up, I'm eventually going to do something to him. So, but I do understand what you're saying, because this is, how long has this been going on, like, to build to this?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So, there's a part of me where it's like, I enjoy that they have different beefs with people that eventually get addressed, but they have other stuff that, like, interrupts them. But at the same time, I understand, like, sometimes, like, Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston isn't a big deal to me. So it's like, there's been a decent amount of time invested in this that I don't really care about this one that much. But on the flip side, you give me, like, Adam Page, like, any of his stuff going on, I'm much more patient with it because I want to see it play out, and I want subtle things to happen because it's like, oh, they're building him. Whereas, like, Archer and Kingston, I don't see... Like, I like them, but not at that same level. So it's, I'm not like, oh, is Lance Archer hiding in the background of this shot with Eddie Kingston, like, just stalking him? Like, I'm not paying attention to that.
Sure.
Where Hangman, it's like, oh, people put someone's legs in the same shape of the Hangman tarot card, and then there's someone lurking in the background. Where I'm, like, clicking on everything I can to read about that. People are, like, trying to enhance it like CSI to see who's standing back there.
Sure.
So, all right. But,
all right. I think we've done
yeah.
talking about here about men in underwear and Blizzard.
Tights.
And
they prefer tights. What if Blizzard started wearing tights to all, like, public speaking engagements?
Blizzard, who? All their people?
Yeah, like anyone they send out to talk, like whoever's running Hearthstone right now, when they eventually do like a response to what's going on with the battle pass, like they do it as a Twitch stream. He gets like pyro and some music, but he comes out in like a wrestling costume,
and has a feather boa. Yeah,
that's fine. And he's got like a giant pack of Hearthstone cards that he's playing air guitar on, and it's like, all right, you idiots, we're not doing nothing for this. Like, basically, like. Hearthstone decides to be
Alabama sweat hogs.
Yeah, like Hearthstone decides to be like a heel video game, and just insults the people, and then like WoW is the good guy video game where they're like apologetic, but Hearthstone's like, you guys don't like this? We're getting rid of 3 of the rewards. How do you like that? Are you gonna shut up now?
It'd be great.
Like, we call this tough love. All right. Well, everybody, have a good week. We'll be back again.
Have a good week.
And we'll talk about more stuff later.
Later.